Hello, my name is Scott Spector, Director of Accessibility and Quality at Taoti Creative. An accessible web just means leveling the playing field. It means taking that same great content that you put out every single day and going above and beyond to make sure that it's accessible for those with disabilities just as much as those without. With every creative deliverable, development deliverable, even business development deliverable, that you're taking these things into consideration every step of the way. And it means, of course, forever evolving as the science that understands it, really dives into a deeper comprehension of what these diseases are and how they affect people. It means making sure that you can become a student of that, and that as that science evolves, that your practice evolves, that the digital content, matches and stays in parallel tracks with it. You do not want to stay stagnant, otherwise you won't be able to cater to the user's disabilities as much as you'd like to. Now that's a tough question. Now you have the Americans with Disability Act that was written in 1990, and that's where all the current legal legislation for accessibility on the web is driven from. But the Americans with Disability Act was written in 1990 for the physical space, to accommodate for things like elevators and wheelchair ramps and everything in between. But now we're trying to marry that law to the digital realm, and it's getting a little dicey and frankly a little bit murky. And of course you have Section 508 compliance on the government side, which is a little more straightforward and adheres to WCAG 2.0 AA standards, but again, it doesn't necessarily guarantee compliance. It just means that in procurement, the government has to make the best decision with accessibility in mind for what they're trying to procure for. Now, that said, if you are an organization that's ever received an accessibility demand letter, I bet you would answer this question by saying yes, every website on the web needs to be accessible. But frankly, it's more of an ethical concern at this point. At a time like now where you can't open the newspaper on the front page, see some type of civil rights issue come up, it's hard to argue that it is not legally, that you don't have a legal obligation. At the end of the day, this really is a civil rights issue. You are providing a service and content for one group of people, and not necessarily purposefully, but you are excluding another group. So how do you marry those two? Which law do you latch onto? The Americans with Disability Act or other civil rights issues? Either way, the answer is still a little murky, but again, best to be compliant, and you should save yourself a lot of headache. Now, at risk of driving my business development team a little bit nuts, yes, of course, an accessible website project or creative project or anything really does require a little bit more time. It requires a much more attention to detail in every single place, whether it's a wireframe, a full design comp, or development, or even a workshop for the CMS training. Either way, it's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more attention to detail, which of course usually correlates to a higher cost. But that said, it is a common misconception, at least at Taoti, that it has to be less aesthetically pleasing just because it needs to be accessible. Now, our team here at Taoti, I am extremely proud of. Our creative team really is a student of their craft here, and they really are their own harshest critic and consistently surprise me. Things that I thought would have been impossible a year ago, now we are doing, and we're even evolving on that already for our next projects. So I will say that although it might take a little bit more, cost might be higher, it will not be unattractive. We can still find ways to make that beautiful and dynamic and interactive and have that same types of treatments that you know and love that are also accessible, whether it's from a technology standpoint, a visual standpoint, and of course, everything in between. We account for that, and we make sure that it's just aesthetically pleasing, if not more, and easier to use than, frankly, some of our projects without a compliance standard. One of the best things about Taoti is that we really are your one-stop shop for everything, and the accessibility work that we do is certainly no exception to that. We do new builds, remediation, content workshops, general corporate consulting from a PR and marketing standpoint and pushing your brand forward in that direction. Everything in between, all the way to document remediation. We can handle it all, and we have the past performance to prove it. And frankly, we just love to enter in these projects with you. We genuinely enjoy engaging in that first conversation about why you're here today, whether it's frankly just a legal reason to make some board members happy, or because you want to, because you understand it's a massive audience that you want to reach out to and that you want to gather and push forward toward your goals for the remainder of the year. We can help, and we have helped other clients in the past, and love to keep moving that forward. This year we're doing something we're really excited about. We're having Taoti's first Accessibility Innovation Summit. And what that means is we're all coming together as a company, regardless of discipline or department, and really just frankly being our own harshest critic. We're all coming together from account management, from business development, from creative, from development, from quality assurance and business analysis, and we're all just show and telling what we did really good over the past year, and frankly where we fell a little short when it comes to accessibility. And the best part is our goals are a little bit selfless. Of course, we want to do the best work for our clients, but our goal is to push the entire accessibility space forward next year. Whether it's invent some new way of reporting so our clients can digest the information a little better, or inventing a new inventing a new way to use a new front end stack in a way that helps deliver things in a more efficient and frankly more accessible manner. We're focusing on usability just as much as we are because accessibility and compliance, making sure that something is ultimately usable and fun to use. We don't just want to make something digestible. We don't just want to sell a product that you check your box and make sure that you are compliant with. We want to do something that really means something, that really pushes the space forward and is helpful for everyone and not just Taoti. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.